Call, coming to you live from Channels Television Studios in Abuja, Nigeria. I am Kadria Ahmed. When Nigeria went to the polls 4 years ago, there was a general consensus that the electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, performed well and was able to deliver an election that was adjudged by observers, both local and international, to be relatively credible. In less than 7 weeks, Nigerians will troop to the polls again to elect a president who will oversee the affairs of the country for the next 4 years. Alongside the presidential elections, voters will also be deciding those who should represent them at the National Assembly. 2 weeks after, on March 2nd, Nigerians will return to the polls to elect state governors as well as their representatives at state houses of assembly. The hope is that the Professor Mahmoud Yakubu-led INEC will, if not improve, at least maintain the standards set by INEC during the last elections. And yet, disquiet has been expressed both by political parties and civil society groups who point to threats that could jeopardize the Commission's ability to deliver credible polls. These elections are taking place at a time when the country is continuing to fight a bloody insurgency by the terrorist Boko Haram group. A substantial part of Borno State, which is the epicenter of the conflict, continues to be uninhabitable. Other conflicts, like the brutal reign of armed bandits and castle rustlers, seems to have intensified in the northwest, with Zamfara State being hit particularly bad, with killings taking place now virtually every week. It is estimated that up to 70% of the state is in the hands of these bandits. In the north central, violent conflict between pastoralists and farmers has led to the displacement of thousands and the establishment of camps for the internally displaced. The ability of those people to take part in the polls is still unclear. There are also concerns about the use of thugs and violence to disrupt elections and the likely impact of infighting among political parties following contentious party primaries. INEC's failure to communicate effectively, according to a recently released report by the United States Institute of Peace, is also leading to anxiety among voters on its ability to do its job successfully. On today's edition of The Call, we focus on INEC's preparedness to conduct credible polls.
The much-awaited 2019 general elections are now upon us. So much has been said, both locally and internationally, about the need for credible elections in Nigeria. But the multifarious challenges confronting the country's electoral processes remain an obstacle for electoral and security officials. Police officials assert that despite the late passage of the supplementary security budget for the 2019 general election, funding issues and interagency synergy will be addressed ahead of the contest.
Vote buying and selling is an offense as prescribed in the Electoral Act Section 214, which states that any corrupt tendency or the use of inducement for voter either to vote or not to vote during an election is an offense. So they are gathering intelligence of those who are preparing or those who may likely engage in the act, because even attempt to do so is an offense. Those notable issues such as ballot box snatching, the issue of thuggery, and the issue of people who are preparing to use violence during the elections are being dealt with. This to enable us to have a firm grip of the entire situation and to be able to improve the confidence of the people to be able to come out freely and cast their vote.
Even in the event that security agencies are able to effectively clamp down on vices which undermined the credibility of past elections, such as vote buying and selling, ballot snatching, voter intimidation, and the intervention of armed assailants, the electoral processes are under the microscope. The National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, disclosed that 58 Nigerians died in pre-election violence in the months leading up to the 2015 general elections. But will 2019 offer an improvement?
By and large, an overwhelming majority of the incidents we've got are in the states of South, South, and Southeast. That's quite clear. You know, that's the concentration of the footprint. And what we've got to do is find out, in terms of medium to long-term diagnosis, why this was so. Do I know why? Certainly there is an influx of small arms, and we've been warning about this. There's an influx of small arms and light weapons in the Delta that is frightening. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge not just for the elections. I think following the elections, my belief is that challenge is going to be there. If we don't manage it properly, it could intensify. The National Human Rights Commission, we took on, in this cycle of elections, the issue of election-related violence, and that's all we did. That's all we lived. That's all we breathed. From the issue of hate speech, which we introduced Nigerians to the notion that there are some things that the Electoral Act actually prohibits hate speech. We addressed the question of violence, of pre-election violence, and and started the process of counting the dead bodies. And those little things do matter. And post-election, we're looking to consolidate our reports, and we're going to go into a phase of accountability.
Heated debate has surrounded the passage and presidential rejection of assent to the most recent Electoral Act amendment. Questions abound concerning the efficacy and quality of technology set to be deployed by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Will it enhance the credibility of the process, or might they contribute to the process? How much of a factor will incident forms be if technology fails in significant measure on election day? What other backup plans are in place?
The primary responsibility of INEC is to conduct elections. That is its primary statutory and constitutional responsibility, to conduct elections. And conduct of elections, we have to worry about the credibility of the process and the integrity of the process. So yes, anything that compromises the integrity of the process bothers us as an institution, and we can do all we should do, and we can do all that we can to ensure that that integrity is protected at every twist, at every turn.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has pledged to eradicate the use of public resources in political campaigns. But the question is, how? Against the backdrop of claims by political actors that opposition campaigners are being targeted for investigation, is the INEC prepared to effectively work with anti-graft agencies to ensure fair play in fundraising amongst all parties? While each organization offers its own unique input into the success of the broader electoral process, there is no doubt that there is a great need for all stakeholders to work in synergy and with a common goal of delivering free and fair elections to Nigerians ahead of the critical contests taking place early this year.